Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Friday Night Frights with Kevin B. I'm your host, Kevin Blood, and this is season 1, episode number 7. And tonight, have we got a hell of a show for you? We've got an excellent movie. It's a fan film for Friday the 13th, as you can imagine, because it's the Friday the 13th themed month. Tonight's movie is Jason Rising. Now, I've watched this movie like 2 or 3 times. And every time I've watched it, I found something different. And I was like, oh wow. I really enjoyed the film. I'm sure that I won't say everybody will enjoy the film. If you're a fan of Friday the 13th, you will probably enjoy the film. Welcome to the show, Nathan Smock, also known as Sir Doom 666 on Twitch. Thank you for joining me. I'm not going to go by the counter on there because it's never right. But I actually have some guests with us tonight, and they're going to watch the film with us. They are, let's see, we'll start off with ladies first. We have Alexandria McCormick. She played Pamela Voorhees and a prisoner in this film. And I believe that the prisoner she played was shown in the beginning of the film. I don't think she was one of the main prisoners that had escaped. I think she was one of the ones I saw walk by the camera, but she did a phenomenal job as Jason's mother, Pam Voorhees. Phenomenal. It just, I gotta keep my composure because I'm not used to having all this coolness in one show. We also have James Sweet, who's the director, and he's also directed, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, James, you have also directed The Librarians from 2013 and Z Nation from 2014. And last but certainly not least, we have Dan Kyle. Dan has been involved with South of Heaven, episode 3, The Long Walk Home. That was in 2019. And he was also involved in Forest for the Trees. He played Jason. For those of you not familiar with the Jason I'm referring to, it's Jason Voorhees. Duh. He played Jason in Jason Rising. And without further ado, I am going to bring them up on the screen because I'm excited to pop them in here. So we'll start with Alexandria. Bring her in. Hi, Alexandria. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And thank you very much for joining me.
Honor.
I'm very excited. When you guys all said yes that you would appear on my show, I was like, no way. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. So yes, I definitely appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of my show and watch the film with the audience.
Yeah.
We'll discuss certain things during the film. We don't have to have a long conversation throughout the film because I know that dialogue is important in a movie. It's just as important sometimes as the action. So I'll try not to be too yap, but I'm sure there's going to be things that we want to talk about. I just lost. Where'd he go? James left. I was about to bring him up and he disappeared.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, I'll bring in Dan. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Kyle. He played Jason Voorhees. Thank you very much for joining us, Dan. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here tonight.
Well, it's I wanted to get people that were like I did ask James if there was any chance of us getting Adrienne King, and he said, "Well, let me get a hold of her agent and see if she's available." I even went so far as to message her myself, and she hadn't even read the message, so I knew that was a long shot. But it is what it is. I don't have to have Hollywood people on my show in order to make it good. Us fans can do it just as well.
Totally.
And last but not least, I see he made it back. James.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is James Sweet. He is the director and one of the writers to Jason Rising. So thank you very much for joining me tonight, James.
Oh, and to correct you, I was a co-star in The Librarians and Z Nation.
Oh, okay. So you weren't the director. You were just
No.
a co-star. Okay. My apologies. I could have swore
No
that
worries.
it said that you were a director for it, but you should have been.
But that'd be nice. I still would have cast Dan though.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the comments. We'll see what my audience has going on here because they like to talk too. Let's see, Bumbleflower Blood. Now, are you able to see? Oh, what was that? Somebody said something. Who's the mystery voice?
Maybe my
That's
daughter.
Hello, Bumbleflower.
Bumbleflower Blood is actually my wife.
Oh, hi, Bumbleflower wife.
Oh, I guess we're getting some weather. It's raining. So, okay. Just so that my audience knows, I typically am not above using potty mouth language, but when I have guests, I try to avoid doing that. So, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, if you're going to use potty mouth, I can't put your comments on the screen. Even though there's going to be more than potty mouth in the film, but still.
This is a religious channel.
Yeah. That's right, the religion of Jason. So, all right, well, without further ado, I'll get the movie started, and we will we'll talk when it's appropriate during the film and see if I can do this without screwing it up, which I probably will screw it up because I'm good like that.
Mhm.
I'll have to make sure that the volume isn't too loud or too low. Now, I also want to say for the record that Womp Stomp Films is involved in this, and I absolutely loved Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow. It was such an interesting concept that he ran with that. I can't say enough good things, but I don't want to. This is about Jason Rising, but I just had to say that because I saw the Womp Stomp Films.
Oh yeah.
Vinny's a huge part of this.
A story of a vengeful mother and the death of her son, Jason. I didn't believe it at first, but this town has a dark history. Covers it like a thick fog. Some say Jason never died. No one knows for sure.
Now, the voice of Pamela Voorhees was not done by Alexandria. Is that correct?
He returned to Crystal.
There was a mix of both Alexandria's voice in some spots, but a lot of this evil stuff that you hear in the beginning, that's Christina Haddad.
Okay.
But that wasn't the end.
I really don't like this. This place is creepy.
What are we doing out here, Sheriff?
What needs to be done?
And for the record, Dan brought that hat to set. He picked that hat out. So that was Dan's choice, which I love it. Great.
Wait a minute. The sheriff? That was Dan.
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, you can tell I'm a little slow and special. I didn't catch that until just now. You reminded me of Wydell on, what was it, The Devil's Rejects?
Oh yeah.
That's you right there, Dan?
Yeah, that's me.
Wow, what a difference a bushy mustache makes.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking when I watched this part of the film,
Fucked
and
up
you were bossing them around. I was like, boy, that guy's kind of a dick.
It'll be a lifetime of therapy.
Hey, you quit your yapping and you keep digging.
Keep digging.
Should have been a fireman.
You're what, 6'4", Dan?
Yeah.
You're
roughly.
what, like twice the size of both of these people combined?
What's that?
I said you're like twice the size of the two people across from you.
Well, just for I don't think the coffin had
Lock it
somebody
up.
in it.
Jesus Christ.
It would have been pretty heavy.
Toss me the
I
log.
was like, wow, it takes two on one side and one on the other. He's pretty
Yeah.
powerful.
Good riddance.
God damn it! Holy shit! He said he was dead! Now, get me out of there! Hurry!
Now the arm that you see coming out, that's Vinny. That's Vincent Dasani.
Right now, is that you inside the box, Dan?
Yeah, that's Dan inside.
Yeah, but the arm that busts out,
Right, that was Vinny.
That's Vinny. And I think that was Vinny's first night on set, right?
Yeah, that was our first weekend of shooting.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
Now, this is probably going to be a stupid question. Were you guys used a drone for this shot right here, didn't you?
Correct.
Boy, those are getting more and more popular.
Yeah. No, Carl's really good at flying the drone, and he's got a really nice setup. And so we went out close to where I live in Washington and got a lot of nice shots near Mount St. Helens.
Nice. I mean, you look at the film as a whole, and it doesn't look like something that one would expect from a fan. You know, the first major fan film that I was able to experience was Friday the 13th Vengeance. I know that there's been tons of other fan films done prior to that, but that one there looked like something that was shot out of Hollywood. Just like this looks like something that was shot from Hollywood. So you guys can call it a fan film, but I think nowadays the fans they're more creative than Hollywood is, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a lot less limitations other
I'm
than
happy to know
money.
things are going pretty well.
You know,
down at the
we're
station.
not stuck by the corporate producers saying, no, I don't like
That it's up to your
this ending or
standards.
that ending, stepping in where
Have
this
everything
is
under control.
our vision, not trying to just put something out
vacation
that
lost dog
they
is
think
actually
a
pretty
formula that has to
What
be
else?
a certain way.
Oh.
Right,
Eves
and you guys don't have to
finally
fight with the
started to take this job
MPAA either.
seriously. Really have
Yeah.
no idea why she joined the department in the first
Which,
place.
you know, anymore, that a lot of that stuff's kind of gone out the window, but we're less restrictive in that respect, I think.
I think you guys are Hollywood has gotten into it's
what's
like
up?
everything now is a remake.
Sorry, I mean, go for Glover.
In a sense, yeah, it seems to be that's the going trend,
I
but
haven't seen him
there's so
today.
many new generations of people now, you know, kids growing
Yeah,
up
sure.
that
Okay, we'll be
they're liking this stuff too, and it's starting a new
Hey, Pete?
generation of fans.
are you?
Speak of the devil.
And I can appreciate that
Glover,
part as
I
far
told you,
as the
use the
remakes
calls.
and
Go ahead.
but
Yeah, they need us over at the
it's
corrections
the
army.
diehard fans of the originals that are
Hey, can you bring
like,
me some more
"Ugh,
coffee?"
what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, as CJ Graham once told me, he said anybody can be an armchair quarterback.
right.
You can sit there and say, oh, well, I would have done this differently, I would have done that differently. But if you're not the one in that moment at that moment, then you really don't know what you would do.
Right.
You know, so I kind of learned a valuable lesson from that, because there was something about there was something that had been done in Vengeance that I said, well, I probably would have done this a little differently if I was. And he's like, yeah, and he goes, anybody can be an armchair quarterback. He's like, but unless you're in that moment, you don't really know what you would do.
There's Alex walking
Yeah,
across
we just
the
saw
screen.
Alex run by.
That was her. Okay, I thought that was Alec.
What'd I miss?
I'm not sure. Just got here myself. That's with the marshals.
I'm not quite sure.
You Sheriff Daltrey?
That's right.
I was not
This is Deputy
expecting
Glover.
to see what I
Mind,
saw
telling us what the hell's going on here?
in this
I'm
upcoming
Barry Wilson.
scene.
This is
I
Jed
Nobody
Davis,
was.
U.S. Marshal.
Hey, Kevin, I didn't either at the premiere.
Nobody knew about
I
it.
saw it and I was like,
The actor had no
Okay.
idea either.
If I remember correctly, the actor that's in the body bag was at the premiere with their kid.
His daughter. Yeah.
Yep.
When that came up.
A group of convicts killed this corrections officer and fled into
Yeah.
the woods.
You guys know this area better than we do.
I hope I don't
Need
get
your
kicked off of
assistance in
Twitch
the
for
Detroit
that.
task force and track you down.
Look, we apologize for the intrusion, but we need your full cooperation on this.
Hey, we got to give him something to talk about,
We're
right?
here to help. But anyway,
Exactly.
How many fugitives are we
Got to
talking
keep it
about?
interesting.
Well, then they're going to split up at some point, go separate ways.
yeah, she's right. It's better to catch them all at once, but
We just received the info on our runners. Serena Patrick, 27, 10 years for armed robbery and assault.
I'm hoping that the
Bobby
audience
Walker,
can hear this okay
33,
past
15
our
years
talking.
for the murder of her ex-wife. Alexandra Palmer, 22, 5 years for a hit and run while drunk driving.
But let's get moving. Yeah.
So,
Oh,
what is the call sign for getting your dick cut off?
That is not a thing, Glover.
that's not a thing, Glover.
This shouldn't take long. We'll have these little ladies back in no time.
So for those of you that are just joining us, we're watching Jason Rising, a Friday the 13th fan film.
Good plan.
We have Alexandria McCormick, James Sweet, and Dan Kyle as our guests.
We're live commentary.
Exactly.
Give you all the dirty secrets.
Now, where you said this was this filmed in Washington?
No, a lot of all the barn shots and the actual camp itself was shot in Oregon City on my aunt and uncle's property.
Suck my dick.
Now, what about this right here? Is that also on the same property?
Yeah, we created a fenced area and then we blended it with the larger area, just to make the shots work. Keeping things, it's hard to jump around from different locations when you're under time crunch sometimes. So you have to just get creative and make your available areas work.
Well, you definitely made it work, because I would have never guessed that this was all shot on the same property.
But it is a blend once we get into the camp and the woods and the water. It's a blend of Oregon and Washington.
Okay.
Like this is Washington area.
And you'd really never even be able to tell. It's the foliage all looks basically the same.
Yeah. Well, the Northwest, it just has that great outdoor vibe that it works for no matter whether you're in Oregon or Washington. It's all pretty similar.
You guys should, if you guys go with a part 2, you should film it here in Maine. I got a cabin out back that looks like something that you'd find Jason in.
Oh, sweet. That's what we need.
Yeah, a buddy of mine owns like a whole bunch of land out behind my house. And I asked him if I could ever film out in that cabin. He's like, absolutely, just not during hunting season.
Yeah, unless you're wearing orange.
Exactly. And we watched a film, what was it? It was,
Jed, this is Bear. Do you copy?
I think it was last week we watched,
Jed, do you copy?
that was the name of that film we watched. Anyway, they They were out in the woods. It was his name was Jason.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were out in
yeah,
the
yeah.
woods, and nobody was wearing Hunter Orange. And I'm like, first of all, that's not safe. Second of all, everybody knows to wear Hunter Orange.
I don't know.
Except
Well,
those
Right.
three guys.
that was set in the old days, in the what, the 80s. So they probably didn't wear it as much back then.
Oh, maybe not.
They had some. They had some, but not like it. Now it's like a fashion statement.
You went over?
Right?
With your Hunter Orange.
What's over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. Just some land that's been locked up in a legal battle for a couple of decades.
Well, hello, Facebook user. Don't know who you are. You can either put your name after your comments, or you can go to the StreamYard.com/Facebook and let them have access to your picture and your name so that we can see who you are.
Through that back road, we'll hike in.
Hike in?
Oh yeah, that shit's all overgrown. The only way in is by foot.
Well, that's gonna give him one hell of a head start.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night. Do you hear anything?
Okay, it's Skeeter. Well, thanks for joining, Skeeter. We're watching Jason Rising. It's a Friday the 13th fan film. Thanks for joining us. I've got Alexandria McCormick, James Sweet, and Dan Kyle, all from the film, watching this with us and answering any questions that anybody may have.
Bulldyke, we're the only ones out here.
Come on, how am I supposed to relax since we're surrounded? I mean, what the fuck are we gonna do?
They're not coming in here.
Why not?
Didn't you see the sign when you came in? This is Camp Crystal Lake. This place is cursed.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
It's true. A long time ago, some ugly-ass kid named Jason drowned in this camp. His mom worked here.
There she
She blamed
is.
the counselors, but nobody believed her.
Now-
So she went nuts. Ended up killing a bunch of people because of it.
Sounds
I've got to say, don't take this the wrong way, Alex, because it's meant with nothing but respect, but that is by far the hottest Pam Voorhees I've ever seen in my life.
That's not even the best part.
I don't wanna know.
With or without a head.
Of course you
You
did.
talking about my mom?
A lot of people say Jason came back and that his mom died.
And if you didn't know, Kevin, that head that little Jason kneels in front of,
They say
that's
his
the
body's
actual
still
head
buried
from
in
the
his
original Friday the 13th from Tom Savini.
Which is why nobody's
That's
coming in here
badass.
and why we're
I
safe.
actually
We just
did
need to
know
read
that,
up
but I'm
tonight,
glad that
Paul,
you
and
made
step
mention
out
of that
to the
because I
cracks.
guarantee you
Rest up.
that nobody in my
Sunrise
audience
in
knew
2
that.
hours.
And the only
Yeah, that
reason I
was-
knew that is because I watched your guys'
Oh,
thing
that's
you
right.
did. I think you guys went live on YouTube the day after you released the film.
Right.
So I actually learned a little bit more by watching that. I was like, oh wow, that's cool.
This is one of my favorite parts of the film, getting buried alive. That was pretty awesome.
This
they
was the
actually
first.
buried you alive?
Yeah, they put a plywood piece and then a tarp and covered it in meat. And there was this one little area that had like an opening, so I could stick my hand out. It was a lot of fun.
Badass. And this is, I like the concept that you guys went with because the only, in any of the other films that you saw, like the original Friday the 13th franchise, you only saw Pamela in the first one and maybe the very beginning of the second one, and then she was gone. So
Yeah.
to have her buried and come back from the dead, I don't know whose idea that was, but genius idea. That's
I'll go ahead and take the credit. I mean,
good job, because that
no,
was
it was actually a kind of a thing that Carl and I kind of just talked about back and forth before we actually pulled the trigger and made the commitment on it. But we just thought it'd be a good way, something unique and different to bring Jason back. And the more the idea got developed, the more we wanted to see Pamela in these different ways, kind of how Jason sees her and as a headless corpse walking around.
Serena? Is that you?
all I can say is awesome thought process there. I would have never thought to do that. Like, I know they did for Freddy versus Jason. They used Jason's mother as a way to bring Jason back.
Right.
But who would have thought headless Pam Voorhees? Waka waka waka.
Well, and you know, it's her rage and her revenge and is what fuels a lot of this that's happened. And I always felt that Pamela missing from the other films was a missed opportunity.
Well, I agree, because this concept, you guys are gonna. I really hope that you guys are able to do a part 2. I really, really hope you guys can.
We're discussing it. We're discussing it. So
Because
we'll
this
see.
definitely deserves a part 2.
Thank you.
It's kind of funny because James would call me, all right, we're going to put bugs all over you and worms and all this stuff. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm cool with it.
That eyeball.
Well, it's just. Well, and that's, the eyeball scene is like a little homage to, part 6, and then the worms, and because those are things that I loved as a fan. So I wanted to kind of touch on those, in our film as paying respect to those shots that we've seen in the older, films in the franchise.
Well, I can honestly say, so far this is one of my favorite fan films that I've seen so far.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It means a lot.
And anybody that knows me on a personal level knows I kissed nobody's ass. I have nothing to gain by kissing anybody's ass that I've got here, other than, maybe you guys be like, hey, we kind of like this guy. But I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You guys did an awesome job on this film, and I'll watch it another 80 more times before you come out with part 2.
Good. Make it 81. No, thank you. We appreciate that. I mean, there was a lot of love, a lot of passion, just, being fans, filmmakers, actors, we put, with a 3-year duration of how long it took to make this film, to have everybody stick together like we did and follow through and get it finished. That's a huge testament to everybody who was a part of the cast and crew.
Absolutely. I really like this scene. I thought this was pretty cool. Get back here, yo.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Row your boat. Now you're gonna die.
Well, this shot was a one and done shot. I mean, we only had one chance. It was getting dark and late, and we couldn't get her dried off to reshoot it, so it had to be perfect, and I think it was.
Absolutely.
And it was flipping cold.
It was October, I think, when we shot
we
that.
were done, and that sun went down.
I wouldn't have.
Kind of like here in Maine.
This would be the place to do it.
Now, one of my audience members says, "Are there any canoe tippers?" Well, there's your canoe tipper.
I don't know. Maybe he thinks
A couple small town cops couldn't handle the job.
You said it, not me.
Glover, where are you?
Just give me 1 second.
Head over to the cabins. I'll meet you there.
What's the call sign for that?
All right, I'll head towards where Bear should be.
I forget, what's the set call sign for going to the bathroom, Dan?
This place is odd.
Daniel would always, our sound guy would always say it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I always forget. Like a 10-1 or a 10-2.
10-2.
I love it.
I'm kind of thinking it's hard, but that's like one of my favorite kills. That whole sequence of the whole boat leading and chasing her as she's crawling out of the water. And
Where have you been?
Well, there's just some beautiful shots there.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
I'm
there's
sure the
some
fugitive will
good
just
imagery.
follow us. Look, it's getting dark. We have a cluster of cabins here.
Really
Four square
well
miles of camp to
filmed
search. I want to comb through these cabins.
Lisa did
I
a
can't
phenomenal
see-
job.
Let's start with this one.
I can't honestly say that I see anything wrong visually
Move it.
with the film. I mean, you guys were spot on.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and you know, it was. If there was something that we didn't feel we did right, we would reshoot it until we got it right. I mean, there's things that obviously we would have liked to have done to maybe make it longer, but I like the idea of it being an hour. But for the most part, we didn't want to compromise. If there was something that we felt wasn't good enough, we would fix it.
As would any great filmmaker.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the right thing to do because you put so much time and money and effort into a project. You want it to be good because once you release it, that's it. You know, there's no turning back.
And there's no taking it back and saying, "Oh wait, hold on, we want
Right.
to change that."
Is that you? Glover. Christ! Glover! Thanks for the heart attack.
She's the kind of partner I probably would have punched in the face at that moment.
Never mind.
Yeah, no,
Search the rest of the cabin.
Anna's great. She did great.
The chemistry between those two characters right there was spot on.
Shoot you.
Oh my god, you should have seen the
What a
Yeah,
great
no, they-
dynamic.
Scary.
Yeah, they're
Amy Schumer.
they're both great actors.
I totally
Yeah.
Great casting choice on James and Carl's
Not a
part.
cluster of cabins beyond that tree line.
Like I said, I can't, like, I think you guys have just the right amount of dialogue and just the right amount of action. You got the right type of kills. I really, I want to say something bad, but I can't.
Their suffering will be our revenge.
I could
Well,
say
don't say
something bad. No,
No, it's you know, it's obviously some aspects of our film don't always hit home runs for people, but that's okay. And because the thing about Friday the 13th, every one of those films in the franchise is different. Not one, two of those films are the same.
Right.
So it allows you to, especially as a fan film, it allows you to kind of touch on each of the things that you like
Well, keep on your
and
toes.
try to do a nice massage
These gals are
of your
gonna
own
bring us
story
muffin cookies.
with those things in mind. And that's kind of what we try to do.
I'm kind of hungry.
Well, like I said, you guys, I think you guys did a hell of a job. Like I said, I've watched this film 3-4 times, and every time I watch it, I see like I don't remember seeing the talking head of Pamela
Some sort of crate.
until just now. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't catch that the first time. Or the second.
Yeah,
or
we
third.
thought that was a unique way to see what Jason sees. Jason, that's what he envisions when he's talking to his mother. He sees his mother.
Looks like it was heavily locked up.
Right.
Chains,
Or when she speaks to
padlocks,
him,
the works.
you know, it's just
Oh, and
a
one other
different
thing.
way
It
to
says,
express
"Do not
that,
open" on the lid.
What's wrong?
which we thought was kind of creepy, superimposing it on her decapitated head.
Anywhere from Bear?
That was pretty creative. I would have, if I would have known that shot was coming up, I would have thought that you would have just stuck her head, her real head, right there and done it like that. So to superimpose the face over the dead head, that's pretty badass.
You think she's coming back for us? Are you serious? I trust her about as far as I could piss standing. I told you she was gonna bail on us. It's like she knew where she was going. Yeah, well, if she did, we better catch up. My guess is she's headed towards the lake.
I'm trying to figure out a way where I can bring up the audience comments without covering up your face, James, because you're right at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, we can cover up his face.
Yeah, you can cover up my face. It's all good.
See, that puts you guys up at the, down at the bottom. That takes us all out. So I guess we're gonna have to go with that. Nope, don't want to do that either. There we go.
Well, if you see anything, anybody asks a question, feel free.
Well, one of our audience members asked, what camera type did you use to shoot this?
We used basically all of our cameras were Blackmagic 4K pocket cameras, and we used a lot of different, Rokinon, Zine lenses, anamorphic.
What's up with that crate back there?
I don't know.
We usually had about 3 to 4 of those on set.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I don't imagine that kind of equipment is cheap to rent or even own.
Well, they're a great cinematic camera, digital, for the cost. It can add up when you're adding certain lenses, but for what we used, it was a good, inexpensive way to get the high quality that we wanted. Not to mention, when you're shooting sometimes 4K RAW, the amount of, memory it takes to upload that video stuff. We use quite a bit of storage on external hard drives. Like, I think 3 5-terabyte hard drives are filled.
Find anything? What is it?
That's that's a hell of a lot of storage.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, I thought the camera that I use was expensive at $2,000 for the camera itself, but
Guys?
What's wrong?
it doesn't shoot 4K.
Right. Yeah, and when we shot our trailers, I think we were only shooting at 1080 originally on our very first idea trailers for the concept. And then once we got into the 4Ks, that's what we stuck with the whole time.
Elizabeth was a real trooper on this night. It was really cold, and she was tied to that tree for quite a while. And at one point, Anna Campbell plays Deputy Glover. It's like, guys, we need to kind of get. She's been tied to that tree, and it's cold. We gotta get going. So that was a really cold night. It was a cold night.
Oh man, why'd they have to go this way?
So
The one back there.
this may be a dumb question. Why do you guys shoot in such cold weather? It seems like that's when most movies are shot, is during cold weather.
Good question, James.
Well, unfortunately, with schedules and you got to get stuff done, and those are the time frames and months that we shot almost every month of the year sometimes. And when you're behind and you're trying to get this thing done, you have to just pick and choose your battles on day. And sometimes it would, funny enough, it would turn out to where I either pick the hottest weekend or the coldest weekend. The schedule shit. So, you just kind of have to take it.
There was a point where they said that whenever I came on stage or on the set, that it would be pouring, and I brought the rain. So there's that.
Always brought the rain.
It's Alex's fault for the rain, huh?
Well, we had one night where, because it takes probably 3-4 hours to get you in makeup, Alex.
For the full face, like the full.
Just for the body stuff, the body makeup.
Yeah. To put it on and take it off. Taking it off was harder.
But I mean, we had her in makeup for getting ready for 4 hours. We brought her on set, and you only have so much light to deal with after that. And a huge rainstorm came, and we couldn't really get the shots that we wanted. So there's a day wasted. Where it happens. That's life.
Sideways rain.
Oh, you gotta love the sideways.
We all huddled under one of those pop-up tents down in the camp.
Which kept flying over.
Yeah.
Lifting up.
So another question from my audience is, where are you folks out of?
Oh, go ahead.
Portland,
Oregon.
I'm Portland, yeah.
So all three of you are from Portland, Oregon?
You watch your ass.
Ish. I mean, close enough.
Yeah, born and raised.
It's me.
So Yeah, back to the cold temperature thing. I noticed that seems to be the most popular time for filmmakers in general to shoot films. Like, what was it? Friday the 13th part. What part was it? Part 4 with Ted White. They shot in like January, and they had that Aronson girl out in that inflatable boat for hours on end, out in that cold ass water.
Yeah, Judy Aronson.
Yeah, like, and she ended up getting hypothermia.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunately
brutal.
especially with studios. Studios have schedules, and they want the movie out at this time. So it's just that's when it's ready to go into production. That's when they shoot, and they have to just pick and choose their battles on how to get through it. You know, it's not always a perfect scenario. For us, it was, you know, we went through ice storms and forest fires where the smoke was too much. We couldn't film, even though we were scheduled to. We had, with the ice storms and snowstorms, we had trees fall down on the cabins and destroy the cabins in the camp. So, you know, you just have to roll with the punches sometimes, and whether it's hot, cold,
come on, let's move.
You keep moving.
Fuck you.
Whoa, what the?
You know, plus in the wintertime, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, that we get a few early. We can start earlier and it'll be dark too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that actually helps too, especially when you're shooting night scenes. You don't have to wait till 10:30 at night for the sun to go down. You can start earlier at 7 o'clock when it's dark and shoot till 1 in the morning and get a lot done.
Yeah.
Every last detail.
Wasn't there one time where we were shooting till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning?
Oh no, we never did that. It's your imagination.
No.
Maybe I was in makeup. I got out of makeup at that time. Like the sun was coming up.
Yeah, no, we had some long. That was, I think, the last weekend with when Adrian was up.
Yeah.
And
but he wrote those words.
Yeah, long nights. I think I rolled in around 7:30 a.m. After that one, I got home. But that's filmmaking.
Well, then we have to go in and see if anybody's alive and then get the hell out of here.
So another question from the audience: what was the prop budget?
You know, you just honestly, it was if we needed something, we didn't look at it as a budget. We just looked at it as, let's just get what we need to get, and we'll figure it out. We were frugal on certain things because we knew there were certain things we couldn't do, but doing things like getting Jason Reynolds' life cast done, or you know, the chest pieces for the zombie Pamela, those aren't cheap. So some of those things is what we spent the more money on. The hoods for Jason, those are silicone, so those are a little bit spendier. So that's where most of like the budget would go for, is things like that, the higher quality things that were necessary. Where other things we could cheap on, because I had kind of that prop building mindset to figure things out at a lower cost and still make them look good.
I'm sure that your masks and whatnot that you used were probably a lot more expensive than the Captain Kirk mask they used in Halloween.
Well, you know, and those things like the hoods were, you know, those are CFX silicone hoods. And then the hockey mask, like the first one that we used, it was one that I got from a maker, and I just did the painting myself and created our own look for it. And a lot of them were either a blank from one of those makers or a mask that I had that I just redid and painted to look like ours.
I'm guessing this here is paying homage to Jason takes Manhattan.
Well, a lot of people think that it wasn't really written that way or set up like that. It just felt like that's what we needed to do, where this is more our Predator homage.
Well, that scene right there, I don't care what anybody says. That scene right there was badass.
I think that's one of my favorite kills.
That damn spine was sharp too, and it kind of like had cuts on my fingers. It's hard to hold with all that blood. It would slip out of your hands.
That blood slime was slippery.
So,
yeah.
what was that? What was the whole spine thing? What was that made out of?
Come on, man.
It's basically similar to what you'd see in like a doctor's office, that type of skeleton.
Okay. I really hate covering up your face there, James, but I gotta let some of the comments come through because I want people to see this. If they're watching the replay, I want them to see some of the comments that are coming from the audience.
No worries.
You're dead. Did he kill him with his own arm?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's more fun, right?
That puts new meaning to the term, I'll rip your arm off and beat you to death with it.
That's right.
You know, when they brought that bust of Jason Reynolds to set, I saw it in the vehicle that Christina Cordon, who created it, showed up to set with. And then they had it, I was walking to the area where we were filming, and they had the bust set up or something. I had to take a double take for a second because I was like, is that no, that's the dummy. That was really good looking. You know? Freaked me out for a second.
No, she did great. That's amazing work.
He's amazing. Oh,
Sir
yeah.
Doom 666 on Twitch says this
Thank you,
is
Sir
one of
Doom.
my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank
That's
you.
an amazing comment. Thank you.
Another one and done shot.
The
I was pretty
aggression.
nervous about busting out of that door and doing it right because we only had one of those balsa wood doors. And they're extremely expensive. They're more expensive to ship because they have to be shipped special because they're extremely fragile.
Right.
And so James was like, oh, whenever you bust out of this door, and we've got one, so...
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, thanks for the added pressure. And that was a fun part. It turned out really well. I was happy about that.
I wasn't worried at all. I knew it was gonna be perfect.
The aggression behind you coming through that door, Dan. Just what kind of mindset do you have to put? Because I don't consider myself to be a cosplayer so much, but locally we have a haunted woods walk, and I have in the past dressed up as Jason and performed. That's my go-to for Halloween. That's what I am. Anytime I dress up, I'm Jason, and I know that just to do what little bit that I do as Jason, I have to get myself into a certain headspace to do that.
Sure.
Is that the same for you, or is that just?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, my concern was like, coming out of the door. Obviously you don't want to screw it up, and being able, because it was a one take, be able to, give James and everybody, more than enough to what they want or what they need. And on the other side of that door, it's a very little space that I had to I had to duck my head because of my height and the way everything was set up. And James was like, I'll roll, and I said, hey, it might be 2 seconds, it might be 12. Just, you know, and he's like, that's fine, we'll just keep rolling, and you just have to, like, you know, you got the football, and it's on the 2-yard line, and you gotta score it or you're gonna die, type of thing. I guess.
That's right.
Now, I saw Alex up there clapping. She must be getting excited because Alice is popping in here.
Yes. It was so amazing to work with her. I only got to like work with her maybe one night, and we didn't really get to interact that much. But it was so nice to meet her, and yeah, amazing.
She was absolutely wonderful. And then every once in a while, I had to pinch myself to, like, you realize who you're working with, and you know, and it's really cool. Just bless her heart. She was absolutely awesome.
Yeah. No, Adrian's a sweetheart.
We were very fortunate to have her along with our team, and thanks to James for reaching out for that one.
Yeah, I know a lot of these actors and actresses that have been in these films are not always easily accessible.
Right.
I mean, the first time I contacted CJ Graham to have him on the main event with Kevin and Mia, he said, you have to contact my wife Ruby and have her set it up.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I reached out to Ruby, and she responded almost instantly. Gave me her cell phone number and said, here, text me the details of what you want. So I'm like, okay. And surprisingly, I still have her phone number in my call logs. They are so gracious with their time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect that from Hollywood. You know what I mean? An audience member asked, are you planning other types of horror films?
Yeah, we're actually I'm writing some different types of stuff. I have a vampire film in mind that I'm working on. Just, you know, you got to get it to that perfect stage before you start, you know, cameras rolling. But yeah, I'm working on some different types of horror as well.
So you don't do just Friday the 13th. You will do multiple different types of. Now, is it just horror that you do, or?
No, not at all. Like the first film that I wrote and produced with Robert was more of like a mix between Limitless and the X-Files kind of thing. Had a conspiracy vibe to it. So that was, you know, a little bit more action oriented, but yeah, no, I love sci-fi. I'm a big fan of Neil Blomkamp and you know, James Cameron. I love all that type of stuff as well.
Hey, asshole.
Excuse me?
So one of my audience members also says, beautiful actress. Now I know who they're referring to.
Well, that's bullshit.
Hey, I bagged the
Yeah.
That means you clean up the rest.
You're so pretty, Dan.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
You are such a lazy piece of shit. You hear that? That's the boss. He's gonna have your ass.
you can kiss my ass.
Wasn't that Vinny right there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, where are the marshals? They're dead.
Let me see. Peter, is that his name?
Hang on, we're 12.
I have an officer down coming in dispatch.
What was that?
Try these on.
Peter said a natural talent for the camera. If he's talking about me, I hope.
I can pretty much guarantee they're talking about you.
Cut the power.
What the fuck is that?
Get back and close the door. Close the door.
You kind of think it's Jason's coming back. He's got the chainsaw. Mom,
not so much.
He scared the crap out of me in this. Like, I didn't know he was going to react like that, and he just was like, oh, and I was like, ah, and I kept going at it.
That was a fun night.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Loved it how it just splashes
Never
on
thought
her.
I'd have to do that again. Are you guys okay?
No, he needs a hospital.
I'll be fine.
How did you find us?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Shut up.
I have heard your distress.
The adrenaline kicked
I
in.
might be able to help.
I'm glad someone did.
Yeah. The boy.
Now, for those of you in the audience that don't know who this lady in the raincoat is, that is Adrienne King. The character she played was Alice, and she was the one that originally cut Jason's mother's head off, and she just did Jason in the same way Jason did her in part 2. I love it.
Yeah, I think she really dug that part, able to with the ice pick.
Well, like she says,
I have a history
payback's a
with
bitch.
Voorhees family, and your father helped me at a time when I really needed it.
I always thought the old man was crazy.
He was anything but that.
Thank you. Hey! What are you gonna do with that thing?
It's personal.
I gotta say, when Adrian's on set, it doesn't matter how late you're going, she's full of energy and she's raring to go. So she's a great person to work with. A lot of fun.
I really hope that one day I get to have Adrienne on the show. Even if it's just to talk about her life experiences as an actress, and because you can't tell me that Friday the 13th hasn't followed her around since she started.
I never understood the burden you had to carry. I sure as hell feel it now. I'm sorry for doubting you.
How heavy was that crate after it got sunk in the water?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, once you get it out, it's a little waterlogged. But the problem was we couldn't get it to sink. That was the we had to pull it down under the water to get it to go down. We tried everything. I thought that would be the easiest thing to sink once it filled up with water, but no, it was pretty difficult actually.
Nothing a few cinder blocks wouldn't help.
That's true.
Now, this is the head from part 2?
No, this is an original piece that we used.
Anyway, call me. Let me know that you're doing okay, and take care. Bye.
The head that we used from the original film, it was the Betsy Palmer head from the original Friday that you see get cut off.
Okay.
That's the one we had on screen.
Okay. Yeah, and I always try to run the credits because to me the credits are just as important as the film. Not to mention it gives us a little more time to yap about it before the whole film is off the screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, you never know when you're going to get one last scene like that.
Yeah, just when you thought you were out of the water for the production of
right?
Get in the water tonight, Dan. Yeah. Do it.
I'll buy you lunch.
I have to say that you were really good at making sure that I was warm when it was freezing cold out. So thank you, because I'm not a fan of being cold, but I would do it for this a million times over.
Well, it's one of those things where you have to, when you're uncomfortable as an actor, because there's a lot of sitting around, that just makes the experience miserable.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in that mind frame of, I can't wait till the night's over to get out of here.
Yeah.
You want to keep people comfortable and creative. Thank you. That's Ligature Marks, our cameraman's hand. That's a song called The Talisman.
The music video that goes along with this movie as well.
Yes.
Yep.
But when I've been on sets where you're freezing and it's hard to try to be creative. Dan experienced it as Jason, he can't wear warmer clothes, or, even Alexandria was just wearing a chest piece and makeup. The nights get cold and you can't wear anything warm when you're performing. You have to go with what the wardrobe is. So you want to keep your actors as warm as possible and comfortable as possible, whether it's warm or cold, during the downtime, and there can be a lot of that sometimes. So, it's just my experience as an actor. I've been there. I've been cold and hot and miserable and waiting around, but
yeah,
the one thing that is a testament to people who are dedicated is they can understand that and deal with it just like you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Bumbleflower.
Thank you.
Look at all those backers. It's so amazing.
I know.
I want to make sure that everybody gets their credits shown on the screen. So I'm fighting off the urge to bring us, all four of us, to the main screen.
Worries.
So.
Well, one of the things that at the very end is a nice. I put a little memorial to Robert Blanche, who in the beginning of this was a huge part, and there are certain elements of the film that had his fingerprints on it that I added in, like the scene where he gets beat with his arm, that neck snap piece. Certain things like that I added in because. Thank you, Sir Doom.
Thank you, Sir Doom.
Appreciate it. But there, those things meant a lot to me, as and to pay tribute to my friend. Dan knew Robert as well. He was a big part of the Portland acting scene, member of the SAG board. So it meant a lot to be able to include elements of Robert in the film.
I think that I think Robert's looking down on you guys, going.
Absolutely. No, he was.
Yeah.
I think he was with us the whole way. So, he was a great friend, great acting coach, mentor. He gave himself out to people 100%. So, it was a huge loss for a lot of people.
So that was something that I noticed at the end of the credits too. How many of the actors and actresses in this film are actual members of SAG-AFTRA?
Most of them were. I think we only had probably 3 that weren't. I think
Kyle,
4,
Anna,
maybe.
myself were. You are.
Adrian
I'm not.
was.
Adrian.
Now, when you're a member of SAG-AFTRA, does that mean you cannot perform in anything outside that's like anything that's not SAG-AFTRA approved? I guess is the word I'm looking for.
There's things where you can do independent projects. They prefer to have them figure it out to where you can have a contract, a union contract or agreement with that individual and cover their, under union agreement. You don't necessarily have to have a union affiliated film all as a whole, but there are ways, like if you needed to do like some part in a smaller film or something that I can't remember the details or the loophole rule that you are able to do something like that. But
I asked that question because I know like Kane Hodder will not perform in anything that's not SAG-AFTRA related.
Right. And a lot of people union affiliated are that mindset, and it protects the actor. It really does. I've been a member of the union since 2007. I was grandfathered in through AFTRA, and Dan's probably been a part of the union for quite a few years, I'm sure.
So what do you have to do in order to become part of SAG-AFTRA? Like, obviously you have to be an actor.
So for me, once I started, once I got an agent here, kind of once I started, I wasn't even classified as SAG eligible, and so basically at that time I could do whatever I wanted to do. And in your time as not being a SAG actor or being SAG eligible, you'll get sent out on SAG jobs, commercials, films, TV shows, or whatever. And you're allowed to do so many until you can do so many union jobs and then you become SAG eligible. Well, I waited until I was must join. And so I had a couple, like a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, and I think I had 2 episodes of Grimm and another union commercial. And then more than likely my next gig I would get would be like a must join. And I got cast for an episode of Z Nation as a guest star. And as soon as I got cast and SAG got wind of it, they contacted my agent and were like, Dan, if he wants to be on set, he's got to join SAG. And so, I mean, at that point, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you have to, and it's like, what are you going to turn a guest star role down on Z Nation? No. So, and then some people will get a couple of SAG gigs under their belt. You'll get something in the mail says you are SAG eligible, and you can just sign up that way. And like I said, if you choose not to and wait, there's only so many more, like 1 or 2 more you can do, and then you have to join to be on a full union, like a TV show, movie, or whatever. So, and then and that was, I think, 3.5 years ago that I've been a member. So yeah, but now I can't. I have to do union work now. If somebody's doing a student film for Portland State University and I want to go down there and audition, which I've done before, and help out on a student film or something, sure. Yeah, I can do all that stuff. Nobody's getting paid. When you start throwing money into the mix, then that's where things get a little, but yeah. That I mean, that's my story as far as I was a must join. I had to.
Now I'm gonna give the floor to Alexandra because I haven't really heard a whole lot out of you, and I'm curious because I I checked you out on imdb.com, and this is the only film so far that you have been a part of.
Yeah, this is my first ever film, and it's amazing. Like, I got asked to do just a walk on role, like no lines or whatever, and that was me as a prisoner. And yeah, I filmed that day, and then they liked how I acted, and they asked me if I wanted to play Pam, and I was like, yeah, of course, of course. And then we got delayed a lot because of COVID, and then that allowed James and Carl and Freddie and Vinny to create more role for me, and that's when I got the speaking role. But yeah, this is the first movie I ever done. I've done like 6 or 7 or about 6 music videos. So yeah, I'm just getting into acting, and I'm a published model as well. Yeah.
Okay, that part doesn't really surprise me. The model part does not surprise me. It does surprise me that this is your first acting gig. I'm hoping that we'll see more of you in an acting role coming up in other films. And I would hope that if you get a role, that you'll let me know. That way I can keep track of what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a lot more acting too. Really, like, I'm down for most things. So yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and when we first started talking about Pamela, you know, into the mix and doing this whole zombie thing, Carl brought Alex's name into the mix because he's like, look, she's done all this full body makeup, and she's done modeling jobs with, you know, full body airbrushing on, and sometimes people aren't necessarily comfortable with doing that kind of stuff, putting on makeup and sitting in it for long hours at a time. And so it was like, okay, this works perfect then, somebody who can tolerate the makeup. And then it morphed into, well, she's got this look, and I saw her, I think she changed her hair color one time, and her hairstyle reminded me of like a younger Betsy Palmer, and I thought, wow, this might be able to work. And Alex has the ability to emote really well through the modeling and everything, and I'm like, anything else is just saying lines. We can get through the rest of it. So let's try it. And she did an amazing job. There's some moments where I love those young Pamela moments, and you know, she plays both. She does the zombie stuff and she does the young Pam stuff. So she's really, you know, done a lot for the film as far as those moments that sometimes you may not have the right person, or you would take one person and do the makeup part, or one person do the, you know, the non-makeup part, but she did both and she killed it. No pun intended.
She did an excellent. You all did a phenomenal job. I can't even, like I said earlier, I don't kiss anybody's ass. That's not what I do. But you guys knocked it out of the park, I think. And if anybody disagrees with me, let's go. I'm
right there with you.
I will fight anybody verbally or physically that wants to argue that. You guys kicked ass.
Thank you.
It was not what I was expecting. I will say that. Of course, when I first saw it, I didn't quite know what to expect. I'm thinking, all right, well, it's going to be a fan film, so probably shouldn't set my expectations too high. But you guys knocked it out of the park. You did.
Oh,
and it's understandable because, you know, there's various levels of fan films, and when you put the fan film thing on it, that into your title, it creates a stigma of it's lesser quality than what most people would assume it could be. So, you know, I'm glad we've surprised people, you know, at the quality of it. I think that fan films are evolving. There's a lot of great fan films out there. You know, different genres. You know, I mean, look at how many Star Wars fan films there are. Dirty Laundry, with the, you know, with Tom Jane as the Punisher in it. You know, just there's a lot of great stuff out there. It just, you can't limit your brain with the two words fan film to think that it's not a high quality production. So
Well,
that's the only hang up sometimes, but it kind of legally, it kind of helps us be able to do what we're doing, and, you know, obviously putting it up on YouTube and not monetizing it, but you know, that can be a crutch, the word fan film. But you know what? Hey, we're fans. We made a film, so it's accurate.
And like I said, I've watched a lot of fan made films for different, not just Friday the 13th. I've seen some done for Halloween. I did see one that was done for A Nightmare on Elm Street. I've seen a couple. There's a couple out there that really stuck out to me. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a character like Freddy Krueger is almost, and I say almost, impossible, because only one person has ever, well, up until they did the remake, which I won't go into that, but there's only been one actor that's played Freddy Krueger, and that was Robert Englund.
Right.
You can tell by the makeup whether or not, usually you can tell whether or not it's Robert Englund.
Right.
I've seen these masks for Halloween that look very convincing.
Well, there's a guy online on Facebook. I'd have to look up his name again, but he's pretty well known. But he's done the full face appliance, the Robert Englund style, and he nails it. He really nails the Robert Englund Freddy Krueger. And if you were ever to do a Freddy fan film that was a high quality, that's who you'd get. You'd get that guy because he embodies it. You know, and that's a, you know, testament to people like Dan and Vinny, who put on the Jason wardrobe. They're actors. They're not cosplayers. They're not.
Are you talking about Trevor Overton? Heineman Overton?
I'm not sure.
I think I did a photo shoot with him. This guy? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look him up. I'd have to look up his name. But, you know, you can't just put on a costume and have Jason Voorhees shine through. It doesn't work. You have to live inside that suit and give it life. And there were nights on set when, you know, I'm seeing Jason Voorhees in front of me. You know, so that's the quality that Dan brought. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. And you can't just throw anybody into a suit and expect it to work. So, nope. You know, these people who like play some of the Predator characters, you can tell some embody it better than others throughout these different shows. So, you know, I truly feel if I didn't have Dan on as Jason in the film, I don't think it would have worked. We wouldn't have been Jason Rising. You know, it would have been not what it is. And, you know,
could have been Jason napping.
Yeah. Well, it's just, you know, it's hard to think of having somebody who's not an actor there, you know, and you know, being an actor myself, I know what Dan put into it to bring that character to set. And, you know, it was an amazing learning experience, I think, for all of us to be able to go through this process as filmmakers and as actors to go on this long journey together and understanding that it is art, and there's a evolution from the day you start doing it to the end, that everybody evolves creatively, and what you get out of it at the end can be amazing. So I'm proud of everybody on our set and our team, and it's a lot of fun. It was hard, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, we're all proud of you, James. You put a lot of tons and tons of work, invisible work that people don't see.
Yeah. Well,
it's stuff that I won't ever see. So.
And you're not just working for yourself. You're working for everybody on your cast and crew, because you want them to be proud of what they've been going through as well with you. So, and that's my love of trying to create something that everybody on our team is passionate about, because it could just be my passion. You can have your sound guy or your gaffer or whatever not give two shits about being there on set or what you're doing, because they're just there to fill a spot or do their job. But when they're passionate about what you're filming and what you're creating, that makes a difference when your team's passionate too.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000%. And I mean, you guys, all of you, and when I say guys, that's a general statement. Everybody that was in the film even behind the scenes, I mean, I don't know every Tom, Dick, and Harry you had working behind the scenes, but I can tell just by the quality of the film that you put out that everybody, even behind the scenes, busted their ass for you, for Dan, for Alex, and for the fans that were watching this film. You can tell by the quality of the product that you put out that you guys didn't. I'm gonna drop my first F-bomb. You guys didn't fuck around. You got the job done, and you kicked ass doing it.
Well, the cool thing is, James and Carl, I think they really did their due diligence as far as like assembling a really good team of like-minded individuals and artists who were passionate about this project and creating a really good product for the fans, like something that we love, that we would love to see, and for everybody else. And it was, there were some nights that were long and cold and hot days and stuff. And hey, Dan, one more take. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm gonna, everybody was all concerned about everybody's, safety and well-being, and to the best of everyone's ability, what can we all do as individuals to help not only ourselves but everyone else out here to, bring a really good product and work safe, have a good time, and hope for the best. So they did a really good job of getting the right people, because it's a nice little family to work together, and finally seeing the final product of a lot of people's really hard work, come to life. And, being blessed with an opportunity to play an iconic movie monster, it was awesome. It was really cool. Really cool.
And I can semi-relate to the playing of a movie monster. I don't call myself an actor by any means. A performer, maybe. An actor, probably not so much. I used to be a professional wrestler.
Oh, right.
I used to impersonate Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you can believe that.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
So, I mean, I guess that's technically considered acting, but
sure.
For me to put on my Jason outfit, I'm always looking to upgrade my outfit, because the latex hood that I have absolutely sucks ass, because it doesn't come all the way down to here. It comes up to here. So I have to wear my Dickies shirt so that it's buttoned up here so that the latex thing doesn't pop out. It chokes
Wear a
me
turtleneck.
3/4 of the time. I can't turn my head the way that I like to turn because I like to do the Kane Hodder turn of the head and then the body. But I can't do that with that because the minute I turn my head, that shit pops out of the thing. I get mad. I mean, I've taken that role so seriously that the first time I was asked to do the Haunted Woods Walk locally, it was a friend of mine asked me. I had been working with him for a while, and he begged me for at least 2 years to be a part of the Woods Walk, and I kept saying no. He said, Kevin, I've heard stories about how you play Jason. I want you to be a part of this. Will you please do it? So finally I said, all right, but you got to understand, I don't screw around. I take the role seriously. My props are all real. There's nothing fake about any of my props. Real knives, real machetes, real chainsaws, everything. And he's like, oh, well, that's fine. I'm like, okay, I want you to be aware. And I said, and most importantly, when I'm in that getup, don't bother talking to me because I will not verbally respond to you. And he didn't, apparently he didn't understand how serious I was about that. He got me out there. I went into the dressing room, got changed. He was standing outside the locker room when I came out. And I had about 45 pounds worth of real chain hanging off of me. And he starts talking to me, and I just stood there. And I was, to the best of my ability, I was trying to do the Kane Hodder breathe, but I don't know if anybody can do it like him. But, I stood there and didn't say anything. He's like, holy crap. So he walked me out to my space. I scared the crap out of a whole lot of people. I almost made one person jump off of a, I don't want to say a cliff, but it was an embankment down through the woods. And they almost like fell right down because they were trying to get away from me. And so after the fact, everything had shut down, which funny enough, nobody bothered to tell me that it was over. So everybody else disappears. I'm out in the middle of the woods by myself in the dark, wandering around, not knowing where I'm going. And then I see a flashlight up ahead. So I'm like, oh, cool, a flashlight. So I move along. Well, come to find out, it was my buddy that got me to be a part of it. He's going around shutting off generators. So I walk up behind him. How he didn't hear me, I don't understand because of all the chains I had on me. But I come up behind him, and he was kneeled down, and he had just shut off the generator, and he stood up and he turned around. And he's like, Jesus Christ. He's like, you scared the shit out of me. And I didn't say anything. And he's like, man, I heard about you all night long. People were bragging about how awesome you were. And I'm thinking, oh, that's cool, So he's talking to me. We're going from generator to generator. We get to the last generator, and he's like, look, man, you're freaking me the fuck out. Say something. And I just stood there. He's like, man, you really are, really are dedicated to what you're doing. So he's like, do you need to ride back up to the lodge? I'm like, eh. So he gets somebody was down there with a pickup. They get me up to the lodge. People on the back of the truck are talking to me, wacka, 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 and I'm not saying anything. They're like, well, he's kind of rude. And my buddy's like, don't bother talking to him. He won't respond. So long story, a little shorter, get up to the lodge. I go into the locker room, get all out of the outfit and everything. And I come back out, and there's a group of people standing out there. And they're like, were you the one that was playing Jason? I was like, yeah. They're like, my God, dude, you got to come back next year. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because everybody was talking about you.
Did you come back next year? Did you come
What's
back?
That?
Did you come back?
I went back the next year, and then I took a year off, and another guy, and this was my outfit wasn't as upgraded as it is now. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a guy named James Shaver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He and I had been conversing back and forth, and he makes the latex pieces, the ribs and whatnot. And he and I were talking, and I was like, man, I wish I could afford to get, because he was charging like $300, $400 for the parts. And I was like, man, I wish I could afford that. Well, he's like, I'll tell you what, because of what you're doing, I'll give you a deal. I was like, really? So told me what the deal was. And then the young fellow that was running the Haunted Woods Walk that particular year, he had been at me. And I was like, look, dude, my outfit is worn out. I said, I've got the opportunity to upgrade it. This is what it's going to cost me to upgrade it. The guy's like, I'll write you a check right now for that amount. I'm like, really? He's like, I will pay you to do it. I was like, well, I'm not doing it for the money. He goes, no, I'll pay you so that you can pay him and get your upgrade and come do it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I did it that year. And then the following year, he wasn't doing it. And I haven't done it since. It's been like 3 or 4 years now. But as a matter of fact, I work at a local college. And 3 years ago, I took Halloween, because Halloween fell on a Friday. I took that day off from work. I showed up on campus dressed up as Jason. The head of security had already okayed it. I was like, hey man, this is what I want to do. He's like, that's fine. That's great. So I showed up on campus. I went to one building, scared the crap out of a whole bunch of people. Now, mind you, I didn't touch anybody, didn't chase anybody, didn't threaten anybody. All I did was walk around. Then from there, I went to his office. Now, hold on a second. I'm going to go get one of my props. Try not to deafen anybody. There. So I made this out of wood. It's 100% wood.
Oh, cool.
This was the prop that I took to the college with me. I walked into his office and I handed it to him, and he's looking at it and goes, wow, that's pretty good. So he hands it back and he says, have fun. So I went throughout the whole campus, scaring the crap out of people. I went into one building, and this one of the faculty members saw me walk through the door. She looked at me, she said, oh, hell no. Now she was dressed up as a pickle. She ran into somebody else's office, closed and locked the door. And of course, there was a window in the door. And she's like, if you come through this door, I'm going out the window. And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but I'm thinking, well, I work here. I have keys to all the doors. So I took my keys off my side, shook them, and was like, challenge accepted. Put the key in the doorknob. I turned that, and by the time I got the door open and I looked in, the window was open and she was gone. And the girl's office, the girl whose office it was, she was sitting at her desk laughing. She's like, she really just jumped out the window. And I'm
That's
like,
funny.
I'm thinking to myself, holy shit. So I look out the window and she's nowhere to be found. Now, luckily, it was only on the first story, so she didn't jump far down. But yeah, I'll shorten the story up a little bit because I know you guys got stuff to do. So like a week later, I get hauled into the HR office.
Oh no!
They tried to write me up for that, and my union rep was like, I don't think so. We don't have any rules about Halloween costumes, and he didn't touch anybody. He didn't do anything. He didn't chase anybody. Like, well, she's like, you don't have a case. Just let it go. And so that was the last time I dressed up for work. So yeah, they kind of ruined that for me. But the fact that I was responsible for somebody jumping out a window, I thought was kind of funny.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Well, all right, guys, I will let you all get back to your normal lives. I thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. And I can speak on behalf of my audience. We love the film.
Thanks
so much
for hosting, Kevin. Really appreciate it.
And if you guys start working on any other projects, I want in on that. I want in on the information. That way I can get you guys back on here because I love
Absolutely.
what you've done so far.
No, thank you, Kevin. That's great. We appreciate it. And yeah, we'll keep you posted. And who knows? Maybe part 2's in the works. We don't.
Oh, we can only hope, man. That deserves a part 2. That deserves a part 2. I don't care what anybody says. If they say different, I'll argue with them.
Thank you.
Jason Rising definitely deserves. It should be like Jason Reawakens again or something. Instead of just Jason Rising 2, Jason's up and kicking your ass or something.
Jason Kills.
Yeah, right. Jason Kills.
Thank you, sir, dude.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all so very much again, and keep in touch. I love the fact that I have you guys as friends on Facebook now. So you never know. I might get in touch with you again and say, hey, I want to talk about Jason Rising again.
Absolutely. Love it.
Because you never know. I'm crazy like that. I do stuff. I like to repeat myself in case you hadn't noticed.
It's all good. You just keep repeating Jason Rising as many times as you want.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful evening and take care. Stay safe. And God bless every one of you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Alex McCormick, James Sweet, and Dan Kyle, all from Jason Rising. I hope you guys enjoyed the film. I know I did. I'm probably going to watch it even more because even watching it with you guys tonight, I still found tidbits that I hadn't caught before. That's why I watch things so many times, because there's always something that I miss the first 40 times. And then that 41st time I catch it and say like, damn. So again, thank you guys for joining us. I love the questions. You guys were an excellent audience as always. And as I said to them, I'll say to you, you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay safe. Stay awesome, and God bless each and every one of you. I love you guys for sticking with us, and don't forget, check out the main event Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Kevin B Entertainment. And next week, ladies and gentlemen, for Friday Night Frights, November 19th, we will be watching Vengeance, a Friday the 13th fan film. That was directed by Jeremy Brown, starring Jason Brooks, Peter Anthony, Jules Valenti, Ray Hopper, CJ Graham. So we will have Jason Brooks at least on the show. I'm hoping maybe we can get a few more folks from Vengeance on there. I did try to get CJ Graham, but unfortunately he got tied up doing something else. So I wasn't able to score him, but you never know. I still have another week to go. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys right here next week. See ya!